Hello, guys, and welcome to Cricket Caviar. Today, we are going to talk about a superstar in rising, the rise and rise of Kamindu Mendis. Man, what a player he is! He started out as an ambidextrous bowler who used to bowl both left arm spin and also off spin, right arm off spin, and he was known for being an ambidextrous bowler. He has, of course, played the Under 19 World Cup for Sri Lanka, and he made his T20I debut long back in 2018. But what happened in the next 6 years, even he wouldn't believe that he will have such a purple patch starting in 2022 when he made his debut versus Australia and scored 62 runs in that epic series, which I call as the Dinesh Chandimal series. In turbulent times in Sri Lankan political history, that series was played versus Australia, and Kamindu Mendes made his debut in the third test and scored a vital 62 in partnership with Dinesh Chandimal, who was the hero of the series. Then he played another test match versus Bangladesh, where he got centuries in both the innings. He scored 102 and 164. And this was the first time that a batsman had got twin hundreds from a position of number seven. Yes, you're hearing it right. It was from a position of number seven. After that, he goes to England, and it's unbelievable what he has done in this English tour. If you see the scores of the English team, they were dominating the first Test match. They were in a massive lead in the first Test itself, and then when Sri Lanka started their batting in the second innings, so the score was 93 for 5 when Kamindu Mendes came to bat, and then he stitched a partnership there, and with Dhananjay De Silva, he carried them to a respectable total. So he played two rescue knocks in the first test and also in the third test. Fortunately or unfortunately, only one of them was converted to a win. So in the first test, it was actually with Angelo Matthews that he had a partnership, and that was also from a very, very difficult position. And in the third test, he had a partnership with Dhananjay De Silva. In the second test, after being belted around by Gus Atkinson, when England should not have reached 400, they reached 400, and Gus Atkinson was belting the Sri Lankan bowlers, and Sri Lankan bowlers were very deflated. Even the whole team morale would have been very down. And then when they came out to bat, they were 87 for 5 again. And it was again Kamindu Mendes who saved them in the second test. I mean, he didn't save them, but he gave them a very respectable. He scored a very respectable 100 that would be remembered. So Kumar Sangakkara was talking about his technique, and he said Kamindu Mendes has the ideal technique for a player playing in England because he plays through the square. He doesn't try to, contain himself, shut off the square like many batters do. They try to avoid playing through the offside. Kamindu Mendes is very confident in playing through the offside. His footwork, he has an open stance that allows him, that gives him more room to cut the ball, to slash the ball through the offside. His technique reminds me a little bit about what Saurav Ganguly used to do in England. He also had a very successful time in England the first time around. And now I just want to say Mark Wood was bowling that lethal spell in second test. Just after Gus Atkinson had scored a century, we saw Dinesh Chandimal retired hurt with a swollen finger. But he later came back. But Mark Wood was in the spell of his life. Similarly, we saw Will O'Rourke bowling so well in Galle. Didn't expect the Galle pitch to have that kind of bounce, which surprised Karunaratne and Matthews. The experienced Sri Lankan pros were also surprised by that kind of bounce. And in both the cases, you will see the innings that he played against Mark Wood, or the innings he played against Will O'Rourke in home conditions. And what a hundred it was again in a match-winning cause versus New Zealand. A 64 in the Oval Test, and again a match-winning knock. And there were two other fighting knocks in the first and second Test. 100 in England in the second Test. In the first Test, also a very good 50, 64 or something. They're 72 or something there also. So the crisis man of Sri Lankan cricket is clearly Kamindu Mendis. He has scored 267 runs in an England tour, batting at number 6 or 7. So that is incredible. I mean, no one has done it apart from Don Bradman. He has equaled Javed Miadad's run tally after just 4 test matches. And if you see, I've been following his average. His average went above 100 after the first 3 tests. I thought it would fall below 50 after the English tour, but it remained at 77. And then again, it went above 80 briefly versus New Zealand. Now it's down to 74 again. So it's been an interesting journey. And I can remember some players, like there was a player called Andy Gantam from West Indies who played just 1 test and he averaged 112. So he scored a century and he got dropped forever. He didn't play again. Andy Gantam has an average of 112. We saw Adam Voges, very short test career, made his debut at a very late age of 36, played for 2, 3 years. He was averaging in the 80s earlier, but then it again dropped down to 50s. Uh, and we have seen Vinod Kamli for India averaging very high. Pujara at one time was averaging very high. So we have seen these bubbles of, purple patch uh, when a batsman just goes on the run. But I hope for Sri Lankan cricket and Kamindu Mendis. What I really liked was in the first test, in the first test versus England in the first innings, he failed. He got out to an outside edge, but he made a technical adjustment of keeping an open stance, and that open stance is actually the strength of Kamindu Mendes. He can access the offside beautifully, and he steps down to spinners, uses his feet versus spinners. Actually, if you see, he plays a lot of shots against the spin also. Especially if you see the recent New Zealand test that happened in Galle. Actually, he played Ajaz Patel through the offside when Ajaz Patel was getting a lot of purchase, lot of bounce, and Will O'Rourke, he played Will O'Rourke so confidently. If you see how he dismantled Shoaib Bashir, uh, playing a lot of strokes through the leg side. So he's okay to play reverse sweep. Even versus Ajaz Patel, he was playing reverse sweep. He was playing slog sweeps. So he has all the shots. He can play all those shots. He has the ODI and T20I game. He has the complete game versus Pacers. He's very confident playing square of the wicket. He can drive the ball straight also. So he has that complete game, and he's not even scored 1,000 runs till now in his Test career. But you know what? This is a big deal. Scoring 822 runs at 74.72, just 7 Test matches and 12 innings in his career, and you're already nearing 1,000 runs. And you have played in Bangladesh. You have played in England now. So he has toured 2 countries till now, and yeah. So it will be interesting to see uh, Kamindu Mendes play in Australia. Will he be the crisis man again? Actually, he got promoted now from number 7 to number 6. Now he's number 5. In fact, he got promoted to number 5 position. So, will he? And the most beautiful thing about Kamindu Mendes batting, I would say, is the um, you know what I would say is that he makes the other his partner play also. Like if you see, he had a partnership with Lahiru Kumara, where Lahiru was actually getting into the rhythm and playing so well. He had a couple of partnerships with Matthews, with the senior pros. He had some partnerships with Milan Ratnaike. He had partnerships with Dhananjay De Silva. So he's very good in that. Even versus New Zealand, if you see in Galle, they were 106 for 5, and Will O'Rourke was on fire. You saw a big turning ball from Glenn Phillips, also dismantling the stumps of Dhananjay De Silva. Ajaz Patel was turning it big. There was so much going on, and amidst that chaos, he had a partnership with Matthews that stabilized that knock. And then he allowed Kusal Mendes, who has been a failure in test matches, he allowed Kusal Mendes to play his own game because Kusal Mendes was sure that his bro Kamindu Mendes is going to be stable on the other end. So he's that guy who allows the other players also to flourish so beautifully. So he always believes in that partnership kind of mode, and he can play with the tail beautifully. He can farm the strike. He can go for those big hits, maximize the number of runs from the last three wickets. So he has that complete game, and like I'm seeing his scores till now, like 6100, 264. That was in Sylhet. 92 not out versus Bangladesh, Chattogram. He had the first low score was 9 versus Bangladesh. Then he had a 12 versus England. Then he came back with 113 in the first test, 74 at Lords, then a 464 at the Oval. So 74 and 64, I mean, they were not hundreds in England, uh, but but I would rate them equal to any hundred, especially that 64. Um, that contributed a lot in that Sri Lanka winning that game, because we all remember Pathum Nisanka scoring that 100 and scoring a 50. But I think it wouldn't have been possible to win this match for Sri Lanka had it not been for Kamindu Mendis. Especially the starts that the top order were getting were just terrible throughout the series. Even if you see the Oval Test, they were 93 for 5. So then again, we had a partnership with Dhananjay De Silva there. If you see the Lord's Test also, Sri Lankan top order was just blown away. To be honest, after Gus Atkinson's assault, they were again 83 for 5 or 87 for 6 rather, and 118 for 7. So there are these instances where the Sri Lankan batting just collapsed, but Kamindu Mendis was the only uh, fighting chance throughout these knocks. Even in that winning test match, like in that uh, third test match, if you see, uh, brilliant. I mean, that knock, how he played Vokes, how he played Josh Hill, the debutant, pulling them, hitting one of the members. He apologized to one of the members at Lords also because he hit the ball so hard. It actually, hit someone. So he has been just brilliant throughout, and I really liked his 100 in the first test. To be honest, that was my favorite knock, although it didn't come in the winning cause. But I think if you imagine Dinesh Chandimal is just retired hurt, and he's gone, and Mark Wood is on fire. Just imagine the condition, and you're stitching a partnership. That was just beautiful to see. They were 95 for 4. They were effectively 95 for 5 there also. So you have these scores throughout England, like 87 for 5, 95 for 5, 118 for 7, and you have Kamindu Mendis. And again, at home conditions, again you have that score of 106 for 5. So you have all these conditions, and then you have Kamindu Mendis scoring these brilliant runs and making his partners play so well, making a partnership with them. So that's why I love Kamindu Mendis. Would also love to see more from him with the ball. It will be interesting if I think he's still growing with the ball in Test cricket, but I think when the time comes, so he'll be a very good all rounder. He'll be a very good all rounder. He's already proving that in he has just 3 Test wickets now, but in times to come he'll be a good all rounder because the ambidextrous ability, that speaks a lot about him. If you Because nowadays there are so many battles related to matchups that people are calibrating that risk all the time in T20 and ODI cricket. So that is a definite advantage if you can bowl a bit like Liam Livingston does. He bowls leg spin and off spin. Here, Kamindu Mendis is bowling off spin, so it gives him much better control than actually a leg spinner because he's bowling. He's not bowling wrist spin. He's bowling finger spin, and that gives him lot control than compared to Liam Livingston. So I think he's going to be a package. He's going to be one of the future stars. He's going to be a Fab Four of the future. Like we have Virat, Kane, Smith, and Joe Root in this generation. Maybe he will be along with Yashasvi Jaiswal or a David Bedingham or a Keegan Peterson or Cameron Green. He will be the next star coming up. So that's about Kamindu Mendes and the rise of Kamindu Mendes. Let me know what do you feel about this guy, Kamindu Mendes. He's amazing. And congratulations to Sri Lanka for winning the first test versus New Zealand. It was an amazing effort from Prabhat Jasuria bowling 70 overs in the match. And then Kamindu Mendes 100. And in the second innings, I thought Angelo Matthews, even though Karunaratne played well, I think Angelo Matthews 50 was very crucial to get them to that kind of stage. And of course, then even Dhananjay De Silva bowled really well. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe our channel, Cricket Caviar.